You mentioned, the phrase no contact. What's the difference between no contact and low contact?
Hmm. Yeah, well, no contact, I would say, is pretty much what it sounds like, where you have
Yeah.
said, right, there's nothing. We are
Yes.
not going to see each other in person. We're not going to have any form of communication or interaction. This is usually, the most extreme. So it might
Mhm.
include blocking phone numbers, blocking
Yeah.
people on social media. Um, and again, sometimes it is so that you're not having contact with that person directly, but also you don't want to sort of be getting any information about them that's coming
Okay.
in, because again, it can be very upsetting and very
Yeah.
hurtful to be seeing what they are doing or what they are saying online or in other
Hmm.
forums. And then low contact is something in between of fully engaged in the relationship and having no contact. And really the probably the most accurate way for us to think about family estrangement is on a spectrum. Um, that it is very common. I would say the most common scenario really is that people have varying amounts of contact with their family over time that ebbs and flows. So we
Hmm.
have a little contact, we have more contact, something happens, and then we pull back and there's less, or there might be a year or two even of no contact, and then something
Hmm.
changes and you decide, I'm going to give it another try, or it's grandma's
Yeah.
funeral and I really want to
Right.
go. And so then have some contact. So
Hmm.
the idea of completely no contact is certainly an option, and it
Hmm.
works and it holds for some people, I would say forever, but I would say the far
Yeah.
more common is really that there's this shifting of sort of some flexibility in that, but again, with the specific intention that you are going to be mindful about how much contact you have, and you're constantly evaluating, is this working for me? Having this much contact is, has something changed and it makes sense for me to have more contact?
Mm.
Is this working out or is it not? And do I need to pull back?
Yes. Right.
Um, so yeah, so it really often
Yeah.
changes for people. And I think sometimes that's just helpful to know that that's really
Hmm.
common. So if you set out thinking, okay, I'm cutting ties, I'm not going to have contact with this person or people, and then you end up having some contact, that's not a failure on your
Okay.
part, right? That doesn't have to
Right.
be the end goal. Is not necessarily, I should
Yes.
be having no contact with somebody who has been hurtful for me. It
Yes.
is figuring out what makes sense for you. How much capacity do you have for
Mm.
being in this relationship at this moment? And again, that changes for people. I just sort of call it sort of like your emotional bandwidth. Like, do you
Yes.
have the ability? Do you have the coping skills? Do you have the support system? What else is going on in your life? And
Yes.
again, if you're thinking about a specific event, you might say, okay, well, this holiday season, I really don't have the bandwidth. There's a lot of other things going on in my
Right.
life, in the world. I just can't do it. That might not be the case a
Hmm.
year or 2 years from now. And so if things change, again, either with you or with the family, um, things can change with the relationship and the amount of contact as well.
Hmm.